Hi, everyone, and welcome to an episode of Senior Living Live. We are here in Fort Worth, Texas at the Vantage at City View on site, and we are so lucky to be joined today by Miss Jamie. Thank you so much for joining us. And we're going to talk about the holidays. It's coming up, which is crazy to me.
It is crazy, yeah. Kind of like starting to have anxiety about it, but in a good way.
Yes, it's an exciting time, but one thing that really comes up with the holidays is visiting loved ones and visiting family. And so, one thing we really like to talk about and hoping to get your advice on is what to keep in mind when visiting your loved ones for the holidays. So let's kind of start there. Let's say someone's going home for Thanksgiving dinner, Christmas dinner. What would you recommend keeping an eye out for?
There's so many things to think about when you're going to visit a loved one that might be aging or living with some chronic conditions. It's really just kind of coming at it, looking at it. Don't have an agenda when you're there, I think, is one of the biggest things. Not come in and say, I'm going to fix and solve and move things forward, but really just have an objective. Let's look, let's observe, let's see how they're interacting in their environment. Obviously, you want to check for safety issues, right? Make sure their bills are paid, the batteries and the fire alarm are working, all of those things, the doors latch, have the bills aren't piled up over in the corner. So we're looking for those things, but it also is, how are they navigating their environment? Just sit back and watch. How do they work in the kitchen? Are they working with the appliances like they used to? You might notice that they're moving slower, and that's okay, but are they doing it in a safe way? So there's that physical safety, but also some mental and emotional safety as well. That they're, talk about, are they staying in contact with their friends and family? Are they still going to do the bunco card game that they've always done, right? So making sure that they're staying social and with their social connections that they have and continuing to do that. Maybe even reach out to some of their friends or the neighbors and just say, hey, how are things going? You seeing everything doing all right? Is the yard kept up with? But I think it's coming in, just watching, observing. If you notice any red flags, we can address that later, but just knowing that you might see some changes, you might see some things, they're moving slower. And they may not be doing things like they used to, but if they're still able to get through them, then that's okay. And just not having your agenda out there that you want everything to be the way it's been your whole life, and then they can move as fast and they can do all these things without any hiccups, but just really being there, taking a deep breath, and watching and observing, and of course making sure they're safe.
Of course. So, if someone is noticing some red flags that might trigger some thoughts about, making a change, when would you say, okay, yeah, it's time to start that conversation?
Nobody likes to be told what to do. I don't care who you are, where you're at. Nobody likes to be told what to do. So a lot of it can be, it's just how you approach the conversation, because it might not be, you got to find out what's really causing the changes. It might not be there needs to be a big move in the future. There might be a straightforward fix to whatever an issue is or a concern, but starting it with, asking your loved one how they're feeling, but in a non-confrontational way, if you will, or again, not having your agenda there, but it could be an example of, saying, Mom, Dad, Grandma, you did another great job at hosting Thanksgiving dinner. Oh, it's so good. We love coming here. That is really such a huge job to host this Thanksgiving dinner. I noticed that it took a little bit more energy out of you this time than maybe in the past years. How are you feeling right now? Or how do you feel about, are you even feeling fine lately? What's been going on? So asking them, and it's a non-confrontational, non-judgmental way to open up the conversation instead of automatically jumping to, well, I noticed some things changed about here and you look extremely tired. We need to start talking about moving into a community somewhere. Because then most of the time walls are going to go up, they're going to become defensive, and then the conversation just will not progress from there.
That's such great advice in trying to come at it from an open point of view, for sure. Yeah. When it's a stressful time during the holidays, no matter who you are. Do you have any advice for caregivers who are dealing with a lot on top of the holidays. How can they kind of, take care of themselves during this time?
Yeah, there's a lot of ways. I mean, holistically, take care of your whole person, your whole self. When we first started this, like even just the holidays, I kind of get some anxiety about it. There's excitement, but it's the holidays too, right? And not all stress is bad stress, right? So it's just being organized. It's also managing expectations for your family, aging parent, aging grandparent, maybe your kids, but managing expectations for yourself too, because this holiday season, you may not need to do all the things that you've always done. And that's okay. Particularly if there's somebody in the family that is dealing with an illness or aging, they may not be able to manage it physically, but they may not want to either because I can have high anxiety or high stress. So it's managing what do we want to do and feel like we need to do, traditions, and hold on to those. Can some of those be modified? Or are there some things that we just don't do this year, and maybe create new traditions of doing this instead of that, or not doing, not having the big meal. Maybe we do potluck or something like that. So it is because you've got to be able to watch it is an indulgent season, right? With food and all of those things and spending money. But just watching what we're eating and being mindful of, do I need this right now? Am I hungry? After the holidays, I might regret eating this right now. That's what I tell myself. Will I regret eating this in like 3 days or even 3 minutes? And so asking yourself that, staying active. Don't get out of your exercise routine, or just start continuing. The weather's a little bit better, especially here in Texas. Maybe you do take advantage of the cooler weather and go out for walks and doing those things. Staying with your social connections, keep those up. Don't overbook yourself, okay? Because that easily can be done. It's okay if you miss that party. It really is. Don't overbook yourself to where you're just worn out. And make it a time that you want to enjoy the holidays. And sometimes that's cutting stuff out, or just rearranging some of those traditions you've done with your family, but really taking stock of how you're feeling.
Yeah. You touched on this a little bit, but having to make adjustments based on whatever circumstance. But how are some ways that families can make sure they're including their aging parent in holiday activities?
Yeah, that is... That's important. It needs, a lot of it's asking yourself, well, what's the reason behind the season, right? What's the point of this? And it's bringing families together for the most part. And it is just inviting the aging parent to, maybe it's the kids' Christmas party, or filming it if they can't be there, and so you can watch it later. But setting up activities in a way that they can join, and that when they are joining, they're able to hear, see, feel included. They're not overstimulated. There's not a lot of competing distractions in there. So it might be that, if we're going to do a holiday tradition, maybe it's just a small couple of people getting together. And then later on in the evening, we do another small group instead of everybody coming at once, because that might be too overwhelming for an aging parent or somebody that has a chronic condition. Or the time of the day is important too. Maybe you have to change the time of Thanksgiving dinner to an afternoon, or maybe even a brunch as opposed to late evening when everybody's more tired. It's just being mindful of what their abilities are and what their comfort level is, and adjusting those activities around that. Also being prepared to, like if you're going somewhere to a party or a relative's house for dinner, being prepared to leave early if you need to, if that's what's best. Particularly for people that have some cognitive impairment or memory issues, the importance of celebrating the holidays, bringing up past holidays, reminiscing, being a part of that activity is so important for their overall well-being, but also knowing that sometimes it's got to be a shorter period of time. So it might be that we do need to leave a little bit early, but we were still able to participate and have that family time or friend time. But as a caregiver, we need to make those adjustments on our end as well. So maybe it's you have somebody to help you with that, or being okay with leaving early.
Absolutely. You touched on this a little bit when we were talking about caregivers taking care of themselves. You talked just a little bit about being mindful during this season, weather changes, but of staying healthy for everyone and just keeping that top of mind.
Yeah, this is kind of a big topic now, more so than ever, as it should be. It is staying healthy, making sure, of course, wash your hands after everything. I mean, that's such a huge part. And if you are starting to feel run down, don't just slough it off as, oh, I just didn't sleep well last night, or I had too much sugar today. Be really mindful of, well, gosh, did I pick something up? Do I maybe have a cold? Is there something? Or don't take some over-the-counter medication to mask it and then go out into a crowd of people, because we don't want to pass along anything as the older adult in general. And those that have immunocompromised systems that can get exposed to those things. So it is sometimes you can easily slough it off as, I'm just tired, it's just high stress, but really take stock and be honest with yourself if you need to take a step back.
Definitely, absolutely. Well, I kind of, this has all been so fantastic, but I want to kind of shift back just for a second. You work at the James L. West Center for Dementia Care. Can you just tell me a little bit about that and what you guys are doing?
Yeah, absolutely. So we are an organization that serves persons impacted by dementia. So that encompasses everybody, right? So it's the individual that has the diagnosis, and we have a long-term care community in Fort Worth. We have an adult day program as well, but we're also here to serve those the full family and friends that take care of them, and healthcare professionals as well. So we have a robust education department that provides free education for families, friends, wherever, healthcare professionals, wherever you may be. You can be in Fort Worth, or you can be, most of our programs are online too. We are recently starting to do a short-term rehab also that's specific for people with dementia in our building downtown in Fort Worth. But that is our mission, is to serve persons impacted by dementia and serve them holistically as best we can.
And what is the website where people could go and learn more?
Yeah, jameslwest.org. Pretty easy. Yeah,
that's very easy.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Well, thank you so much for this. This was absolutely fantastic. We learned a ton about preparing for the busy holiday season. So thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to meet with me.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right, everyone, if you'd like to see more videos like this one, please feel free to go to seniorlivinglive.com. Best of luck during this holiday season. That's it for now. Bye-bye.